Brian, let's shift to the West for a moment and the injury situation / COVID situation. Latest on Kawhi Leonard, latest on Chris Paul and their availability.
Well, Chris Paul, guys, during the season, almost every player, most players who tested positive for COVID, unfortunately, missed, usually the 10 to 14 days. I know that there is a window that if you had 2 negative tests in a row that you could have come back before then, but that just didn't happen. And, I have been told that Chris has been vaccinated. He has not said, so I don't want to verify it until it comes from his lips. But, and I don't know, I'm not a doctor. I don't know how that might affect it. But the reality is when you tested positive for COVID, even if you were fortunately symptom-free or mostly symptom-free, you were looking at 2 weeks, give or take. And so Chris Paul tested positive, I believe, last Monday. And so we're now 1 week in. And if he goes another, 5 to 7 days, you're looking at missing another 2 to 3 games. And that is a very difficult reality. It's a disappointing situation. The one thing I would say is that the Suns got lucky in that the Western Conference Finals are on ABC and ESPN. And that is that, ABC has games on Sunday afternoons. And so that was when the Western Conference Finals were going to start. And the Clippers had a very challenging turnaround coming out of Utah, 36 hours to turn it around. And I think that had a factor in yesterday's game, if not just fatigue and the Clippers' opportunity to really install a game plan. They weren't ready for the pick and roll game that the Suns put on them. And so getting that victory yesterday, every win they can squeeze out without Chris Paul, if indeed he's looking at missing 3 or 4 games in this series, maybe he'll test positive today and tomorrow, and he can play in Game 3. I don't know, but that's huge for them.
What about Kawhi? Where do we stand with him?
Well, the Clippers have said privately that they are optimistic that Kawhi will be able to come back in the playoffs, but attempts for me to figure out when do they mean? Do they mean in Game 7 of the finals? It's a knee sprain, and they have elected not to make public whether it's a grade 1 knee sprain, which could be 1 to 2 weeks, or it's a grade 2 knee sprain, which could be, a month or more. So we don't know. It is an ACL from what I've told, and the word sprain by medical definition means that there's a torn ligament. So he is dealing with a partially or minorly or moderately torn ACL. So that is a big reality to deal with. And coming back, there's all kinds of evidence of players coming back from knee sprains and being okay, and other evidence that it just takes longer. So probably only Kawhi knows, and they're not making it public, and I understand why.